Broadcasting live on the UnitedWest.org AM radio network and simulcasting on DirecTV, iHeartRadio, Roku, and the World Wide Web, this is Enemies of the State with Tom Trenko.
And if it's Friday, April 24th, if it's Friday anywhere in the world, you know it's Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday. I kill you. And also, if you've been following what we've been doing for the past couple of weeks, you know that there is no Palestine, and the whole thing is an absolute fabricated scam by the Muslim Brotherhood and others, because we were in Washington, D.C. Oh, the Sharia guy in Washington, D.C., and they dissed the Palestinians on Palestine Day.
My Sharia.
But for your viewing pleasure.
My Sharia. Never gonna stop or give it up. Killing infidels, always got it planned. Underhand, give a lot a yell. My, whoa! My Sharia. My Sharia. My Sharia.
All right, we got all kinds of stuff going on this Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday.
Yes, we do.
A little bit of rocket fire in the Hamas, from the Hamas yesterday over to right where we were a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to show you that.
There you go.
Next week, just communicated with Pamela Geller. Next week, she will be on the show. Yeah, she has a tremendous victory with American Freedom Law Center, David and Rob. They defeated municipality, I believe it was New York, regarding bus ads that she's running on her, what's your job?
Largest public transportation system in the country.
Yep. And also she was at Brooklyn College, group of 80 people, most of them Muslims, and they just totally screamed and yelled, and we got great footage on that. Next week, Pamela Geller, and then she has an event in Texas on the 3rd, Sunday the 3rd, where Geert Wilders is coming over to be the keynote speaker at Draw Mohammed Cartoon Day.
Geert Wilders,
lines. Yep, from the Netherlands. So that's coming up. But later on in our show, we have a couple of people from Jerusalem. Today's part 5 of our 5-part follow-up to our trip to Israel. And we went on a national security mission trip to integrate some of what we found there with the geopolitical events of the day, Washington, D.C. last week. Today's our concluding day. 2 people Skyping in from Israel, our well-known friend, Michael Gano, Hershey's for Heroes, Insight to Israel radio show. New guy, Jeremy Deary. He'll be up a little later. You're going to like Jeremy. Worked for the Likud party. Speaks French. We won't hold that against him, but he'll be here. And then we're concluding today's show with a fabulous segment by our buddy Joel Gilbert. Joel did the movie Dreams from My Real Father, the documentary that President Obama's real father is not Barack Obama, but it's indeed Frank Marshall Davis.
No.
And we've had Joel on the show, all of that. Well, Joel just did a Skype interview with Barack Obama's half-brother, Malik Obama.
Right.
And you're not going to believe, we're going to show you. It's a 10-minute video. We're going to show it to you and dissect it. It is unbelievably incriminating and damaging to President Obama. Now, the sad part is none of the people that support Obama care about his character, his morality, anything like that, but his family does in Kenya. So we'll show you that in a little bit. But let's go to the Great Wall of the West.
Okay, hold on.
And what we'll do, I will walk slowly.
You're there. You got it.
All right, what we're going to do, in order to complete day 5 of our 5-day follow-up overview of our mission that was to the hot spots of Israel, we're going to show you a couple of slides, and we're going to concentrate on one particular area, the Gaza Strip, because yesterday we had a little activity by the boys over in the Hamas in Gaza. Let's just go on a little travelogue slideshow for a moment.
Okay.
David, you could narrate what we're looking at here.
Well, give me 1 second.
Okay. So, yes, we're waiting. We're waiting. We're
Okay.
waiting.
All right. Here's our map of the Middle East.
Okay. And we'll get there.
We got a big picture of the map of the Middle East. Now, this is the area under question. This is the area that the Iranian negotiations are discussing, the area the Soviets are sending S-300s to. I mean, this is the middle of the universe. But let's drill down even a bit more.
Okay. Oh. There you go.
All right, there is a very colorful Israel. Does it have the name Israel by any chance on it this day?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It even has Tel
Actually,
Aviv.
I got it under map of Israel, and it is listing the cities by their Israeli names, not by the Arab names. It's
what are all
Jerusalem, not Al-Quds.
What are those colors designating?
Those are designating the different zones.
Different zones of some sort. Maybe, well, we see Gaza down there. We see supposedly the West Bank is gray, the Dead Sea, the whole Sinai, the Negev down the yellow part.
You have the Gaza Strip is in that pinkish orange.
Okay.
You have the Golan Heights in the dark green up at the top.
Well, and the black is the Golan. The left side is the coast. All right, yeah, cool. All right, now let's go even further down if we can. Well, let's show the slides first. There's Gaza. We're gonna focus on that. I'm going to show you a couple of slides from our trip, and then we're going to show you some slides that lead right into where the missiles, rockets fell yesterday. And we're going to try to figure out what the heck is going on with this. But go ahead. Let's see these slides.
Okay.
Yep. Here we go.
Here we go.
Well, you know what, guys? It takes a second to go in between.
There we go.
Here. Okay, here we are. This is at a private farm just literally a couple kilometers from the Gaza Strip. This is about a 1,000-acre private farm. There's a little farmhouse. We had lunch after going from Ashkelon. We went right from Ashkelon over here.
This is right at the Gaza border, right?
No, this is close. This is a couple kilometers. That's not a border fence right there. That's just an animal fence right there. There's a group of us, big group, 25.
Yeah, up until Operation Protective Edge, these farms, these kibbutzes went right up to the Gaza line. But post-war, the IDF put a sort of a demilitarized area in there.
And also, the woman that spoke with us, her right there, was telling us how she used to employ many of the Arab Muslims would come over from the Strip and work on her farm for years and years and years. And it's just that, the poison that's been force-fed down these people's brains for the last 20 years since Arafat and the PLO, they've been dehumanized.
So this gives you a little feel. We're giving you a little feel for life on the border of Gaza. And what happened yesterday is also life on the border of Gaza.
Here's a gentleman that does combat training, both hand-to-hand martial arts as well as firearms training.
He looks like a
at
guy.
a kibbutz that we were on. And this is the kibbutz. There's Adele. With the big Jägermeister sign in the room that we were at. That's when we started hearing the gunshots from the range.
The kibbutz people know how to party, let me tell you.
Yes, they do. Nothing like Jägermeister. Now, you tell the story about this tree, Tom.
Yeah, today is the 24th of April. It's 14 minutes after the hour. Tom Trento, your host, Enemies of the State. WSBR Radio out of Boca Raton. 7:40 a.m. on your dial. Watch and listen on iHeartRadio. You can actually watch on your smartphones too. TheUnitedWest.org, 4 o'clock every day. If you're over in Tampa Bay, WHFS 1010 Radio.
Can I say hello to our terrorist friends in Tampa?
Nah, forget about them. I don't want to waste any time with those guys right now. But what you're looking at right here is the aftermath of a very small munition, a mortar, filled with very destructive shrapnel. It hit about 10 feet away from that tree, and that tree is on the property where the Jägermeister sign is, not far from that sign. 3 men were hit on the last day of the war in August 2014. One had both legs blown off. He actually recovered. The other 2 were killed, and a very sad situation.
By the same mortar that is partially in this tree right there. The same mortar shell killed 2 men and took the legs of another from these animals on the other side of the border.
The kibbutz people decided to leave it up as a memorial in a sense, but yesterday, if we can go to the article.
Well, just
No, we
one
got to
more.
move. We got to keep moving.
Just
I'm
the
on
mortars
clock
are
here.
filled with nuts and bolts. That's all.
Yeah, the shrapnel inside is whatever deadly and dangerous you could imagine.
Enemies.
And that's life. You know, you can see the serene, gentle life of farming on the border of Gaza. And then you see the tree that got hit with this little device filled with nuts and bolts and nails and any kind of horrible stuff you can think of. And then yesterday, on the 23rd, this took place. A rocket, one of these smaller rockets, 6-8 feet long, was fired. One or two, still questionable, was fired from right where we were, landing right where that same exact area, and into the Sderot area where we were in Sderot. We're a little further south here.
And indiscriminately launched.
Where the rocket landed yesterday was Sderot. If you can go to that map that has Sderot on it, we'll show you where we were. We were in Sderot, but the images we just showed you, the slides, are a little further south, down by the Rafah Gate, almost by Egypt. But the rocket that hit yesterday was right up there, right over here, Sderot. And we were way down here with those slides, but yesterday the rocket was fired out of northern Gaza, right over to Sderot, fell in a field. IDF checked it out. They have all kinds of analytical devices, fired back and destroyed the area, the launch area. And right now in Israel, their thinking is, we ain't letting these guys fizzle, the word they use. We ain't letting these guys fizzle off these rockets like we used to let them. One comes, we're smashing them. This is a new approach in dealing with the Hamas rockets. So,
Do you think Netanyahu's victory plays into this new approach?
I think it does. Oh, we do have a little time here. I'm looking at the time sign thing.
You're right.
All right. Your thoughts. Both of you have been in these places.
Well, I was in Sderot the last time. You guys went to that other area, but I was in Sderot up there.
We drove through Sderot this time also.
But
we walked around it last time.
We walked around Sderot. And the thing that gets me is that when they launch these rockets from Gaza, they're not targeting anything. They're just indiscriminately launching them, hoping they'll come down somewhere. They could care less whether it's civilians, dogs, cats, or military personnel. It doesn't matter. They launched a rocket. They're all happy, and they load these rockets with nuts and bolts and washers and all kinds of other things.
Qassam rocket, Quassam, Qassam. You'll see exactly what we're talking about. Now, the munition that hit the base where the tree was this big, Coke bottle size, a mortar, because they're so close. There's no trajectory with the mortar. It's just like looping it over, like you throw a basketball in for a foul shot. The Qassams go up, and a little more trajectory to it, and they're bigger. They're 6, 8 feet, 10 feet, 6-inch tubes. You'll see what it is, and it has a firing device, and it's got a warhead with a bunch of nuts and bolts in it. But Mark, the way they argue is the way the left argues, and the apologists for the Hamas, they say, oh, these have no targeting capability. They're really big fireworks that go into somebody's backyard. There they are right there. Those are Qassam rockets.
They're as tall as a man.
Those are dangerous things, and because they don't have a targeting mechanism, doesn't justify the moral use of them when it's theoretically possible it could hit people because they don't know where this thing is going.
They hit their own people with these rockets. They took out their own power station during Protective Edge, tried to blame the Israelis.
And it isn't like they don't have an idea where it's going. There's a trajectory. They know a little bit about geometry. And there's a fuel
We invented
package.
Geometry.
They what?
We invented geometry.
Abdul, about this stuff. I mean, here's 3 guys ready to shoot into Israel. What's the deal?
Well, they are wearing camouflage, so once their rockets launch, they should be able to hide into trees very easily. Listen, Israel has a superior military capabilities.
Imam Abdullah, I got a question for you. Let's say the roles were reversed and these were Israeli soldiers launching rockets indiscriminately into the Gaza area. How would you feel about
good
that?
question.
International criminal courts for you.
Of course. Let's get Gano because he's up next.
Crimes against humanity.
Crime against humanity. What we're doing, folks, on the 24th, Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday, we're winding up our 5-day review of our national security mission. By the way, if you're interested in coming on this phenomenal trip, Ron Wexler has already solidified a date. It's 14 to 24 March 2016. March 14th to the 24th, 10-day trip, 2016, about $3,000. Save your shekels. The people, and we're gonna bring some of the people that were on our trip, Skyped in on our show in the coming days.
Gano was on our trip.
Gano was on our trip. He was sleeping in our rooms and on our buses and eating our food, but it was great. It was great. Is he with us?
No.
Says connecting.
If we get him in 42 seconds, we are right
on
the
schedule.
money. Yeah,
Well, then we know that ain't happening.
It ain't happening.
That's not going to happen. Thank you all for helping our show grow. We hit key people, opinion leaders, grassroots activists, many people. But the more the merrier. Occasionally we get some folks that say, we hate your show. You know, all of this, you guys, whatever reason. That's fine. Can't please everybody all the time, but we know what we're doing. We're professionals at this. We understand the information. We know how to communicate it. We've got a phenomenal facility. Show me anybody else doing what we do on our budget that has this kind of facility. Look at this.
Exactly. Look at this thing. Yeah.
Can't do that.
I'm going to get all your
Turn your video on, Michael.
Whoa. So, and we have a little bit of fun. Why do we have fun with serious stuff? Because we've learned if you just pour out all the serious, hardcore insanity going on in the world today, people go, okay, and they put on a radio to listen to, the top 40s. So we got to mix it a little bit together with having a little bit of fun, laughing at the absurdity of some of this insanity that's going on. But also, nobody gives you the solid, factual, analytical, national security information that you get here with opinion. You know, on Fox and all that, you get a little bit of opinion from some of those folks. We really tell you what we think and what the problems are, and then you make up your own mind at that point.
You know, we base it in fact and evidence and what they say. And the other thing, we were watching a video the other day, Tom, which talks about, who was it, USAID, or who was it that was funding these camps down in...
UNRWA.
UNRWA, that's it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the United Nations, they're UNRWA, United Nations Agency for Relief, some nonsensical acronym, yeah.
All right. But no, they are completely funding this whole this whole genocide, this whole anti-Semitism. It's unbelievable. It's Nazi,
they're
Hitler
collaborating.
youth style.
Tax dollars.
All right.
Collaborating. We got Michael?
Nah, he's not answering.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on. He lost his spot. Michael.
Lost your spot.
Hey, the train leaves the
What's
station.
he, big time? What's he, hanging out with Richard Gere or something?
Yeah.
The train leaves the station. I'll tell you what. Let's go right to Jeremy. Maybe we
Okay.
can flip them.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring in, at the end of the show, phenomenal video done by Joel Gilbert. A direct, you're going to watch it, you're going to see it. It's
Right.
amazing. Skype interview with Malik Obama. President Obama's Malik Obama. What kind of, you think, is he a Christian? Is he a Jew? What do you think he is?
Muslim.
He's a Muslim's Muslim, and he's in Kenya, and he basically says, my brother is the biggest jerk in the world. Stay tuned for that in just a couple. Bring you that
right.
amazing video.
We do have Jeremy.
But who do we have right now with us here?
Mr. Jeremy Derry.
Let's give him
welcome
a
to the
warm
show
welcome.
for the first time.
Hey,
First time
how you
on
doing?
Enemies of the State. Jeremy, how you doing?
Very
Good to see you. For our listeners and viewers, at 25 minutes after Tom Trento, your host, Enemies of the State, we're broadcasting right now live in South Florida, April 24. It's 25 minutes after now, the hour. We're on WSBR radio every day, folks. Hit 740 on your dial at 4 o'clock in the afternoon if you're in Tampa Bay. Two very big markets, 1010 WHFS. Also, if you missed the show or you're driving in your car and it's a television show, go to theunitedwest.org, or if you're involved with Tea Party community, teapartycommunity.com. Watch the show. Nobody puts 1 hour of content, information, entertainment together like we do on National Security.
It's edutainment.
It's edutainment, it is. And a new guy to our repertoire of citizen journalists and experts is Jeremy Deary. Jeremy, hello. How are you? Why don't you take 30 seconds and introduce yourself to our audience, your background, and what the heck you're doing in Israel. You're coming live from Israel.
Yes, I'm speaking from Tel Aviv. It's a pleasure to be here. I was a former Knesset parliamentary assistant to the Likud party, Ayub Kara. I helped the Hasbara ministry along with my English and French skills. And I've been a very proactive Israel activist on both Facebook and doing rallies in the city and informing the world about key issues facing Israel and and how Israel is coping with these various issues. So it's a pleasure and an honor to be on your show, Tom.
Well,
Thank
great.
you.
We're looking forward to...
And your coffee's done, too.
Your coffee's done. We're looking forward... No, it's a red alert. Another red alert, maybe. We're looking forward to having you on regularly. And then if the Lord wills, inshallah, and we can open a facility in Israel, in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, to get you involved, obviously, in that, with your background, your language skills, your other assets that we won't get into right now. But give us a little insight into this past week, Memorial Day and Independence Day, and then I want you to comment on the recent rocket that came over yesterday.
Well, Israel is one of the very few countries in the world, or maybe the only country in the world, where they go from Memorial Day literally 24 hours later into the Independence Day, from sadness to joy. And Israel goes on a standstill, literally, with the two sirens blaring across the country, and everyone just freezes for 2 minutes during those sirens, to commemorate our fallen ones who have died in the wars throughout the years, and then literally by evening time, the whole country goes into celebration and starts to, do tons of festivities outside with fireworks and all that to celebrate now Israel's 67th birthday. And sadly, what we saw Thursday during Israel Independence Day, there was one rocket which hit an empty field from the Gaza Strip into Sderot. It was just another wake-up call from the Hamas movement that they're still here, they still want to kill Jews, and they still want to disturb life for Israeli citizens.
And also, the Muslims are real happy about all this over there, too. I'm sure they bow their heads in moments of silence, too. Do they not, Jeremy?
Well, look, anyone who supports this radical Islamic ideology, is cheering. This is a war for Israel's survival. There are plenty of terror organizations besides Hamas that wish to see the end of Israel. And what's happening in the Gaza Strip is that there's the Hamas rule, and there's smaller splinter terror organizations. And what we think would happen is that there was one of the splinter terror organizations who shot the rockets, disobeying Hamas's command, because Hamas has interest right now to maintain the ceasefire that was settled upon at the end of Operation Protective Edge during this recent summer, basically to rearm their weaponry, to get ready for the next round of conflict, because there will be one. And this was just a small little terror incident that, thank God hit an empty field, but Hamas wants Israelis dead, so,
right.
They caused the fear. They're very happy for that. They do want to see Israelis dead, and it is the Israeli government's interest to stop the Hamas terror regime and not allow any rockets to fall into the Gaza. By the way, the last thing I want to say is that literally within less than 24 hours, the Israeli army flew into Gaza and bombed certain terror targets in the Gaza Strip, just to prove to Hamas that if you shoot even one rocket, there will be consequences and you will be punished severely.
So this was a flex your muscle type of event, is
Yeah, on Independence Day, no less.
Well, they
Saying
did
we're
that
here.
intentionally, yeah.
Yep. Jeremy,
Yes, it was a very reminder. I mean, this is the one day where the entire Israel, from north to south, is celebrating for joy, and Hamas decides that perhaps it's a good day to launch a rocket.
And they call it Nakba, don't they? And can you describe what Nakba means to our listeners?
Yes, the Nakba is very simple. It means the catastrophe in Arabic. The Arabs view the Palestinians view the creation of Israel as a catastrophe, that they were displaced from their homes forcefully by the Israeli military, and that their lives were destroyed. And Israel was created instead of Palestine, which never existed. And this is really the crux of their problem: is the Nakba, is the catastrophe. Because the truth of the matter is that Israel didn't force or evict any Palestinians. If they left they left on their own accord, or they were promised by the surrounding Arab governments to leave, so that the Arab governments in Syria, Egypt, Lebanon, all that can finish Israel off, and then everybody can return home and live peacefully. Thank God that did not happen. Israel won the war, and now we have a very flourishing land of Israel for the Jewish people, and we have always been here.
And we see that celebration. We see that.
There's an important, interesting propaganda element to what Jeremy is describing. So if you were an Arab in 1948 and the Arabs attacked Israel on May 15th, May 14th, May 15th, and the Arab army said, just go away now, go somewhere else, go to another country, we're going to destroy Israel in very short order, then everybody can come back. They didn't destroy Israel, so the Arabs didn't come back, because now they become enemies of Israel because they were fighting against Israel. And they're a refugee. In 1948, they became a refugee. Well, they had a kid in Jordan, say, that kid's a refugee, and that kid moved to the United States or to Italy or to Germany, and he had a kid, and that kid's a refugee now, and now there's 5 million refugees all over the place. No Gano.
That's right. The refugee crisis is only
no, we can't. I'm going to stay with him and go right into the other one. So we got this absurd situation going on of all these refugees for UN propaganda, for leftist propaganda purposes. But Jeremy, on a personal note, we've sketched out over the week Independence Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day a couple of times. When you were going through that Memorial Day and then Independence Day, what was, share with the audience one of the moments that may have moved you in a unique way that maybe you have not been moved before.
Sure. I will answer your question, and I'll just mention two small comments that pertain to the refugee issue. And this is vital that, and also with the Hamas terror organization. First of all, what I did for Independence Day, I live in Tel Aviv. I went to Rabin Square, named after the former prime minister who was shot and killed by a Jewish extremist. And there was music festivities, fireworks, dancing, and it was really an honor and a pleasure to dance with Israelis, Jews, celebrating 67 years of our rebirth. Israel was never destroyed. Israel, there was the ancient Israel, biblical Israel. The Romans displaced the Jews, and then most of the Jews remained in exile, but there were always a Jewish presence within Palestine, whether it was governed by the Ottomans or the British or whatever foreign government that ruled Israel at the time, but there was always a Jewish presence. So the Jews never left this land. But the two things I really do want to mention is that the day before the ceasefire in the summer between Israel and Hamas, Hamas launched a projectile rocket into Sderot, and it killed, if I'm correct, he was a 10-year-old boy named Daniel. And that, by the way, is the most important factor with this war. The Hamas terror organization wants to destroy life, and they use their own people as human shields. They use the fear, they use the terror methods, torture, just to inflict massive casualties among their own people as well as Israeli civilians. They want to destroy all life in Israel. Israel, on the other hand, wants to preserve life. We want to help the Palestinians. We even drop leaflets before we launch a airstrike, just to make sure that
we got about 1 minute left with you, Jeremy.
All right. And then the very last thing I want to say is that there is actually one group of refugees that really are a refugee, and it really is a catastrophe. It's the Jewish refugees from the Arab world who were forcibly kicked out by the Arab governments after the creation of Israel because they viewed their Jewish citizens as spies or collaborators with the state of Israel, and therefore in many Arab countries they were forcibly kicked out or persecuted. And that really is the major catastrophe in the Middle East that no one really talks about.
No, good point.
Yeah,
good point.
One thing I'd like to add to his previous point, and that's a statement that Israel uses missiles to protect its civilians, and Hamas uses civilians to protect its missils.
Yep.
Think about that.
We've seen great cartoons that way too. Hey, Jeremy, good having you on. Give Jeremy a hand for first time.
Thank you.
We'll touch base with you.
If you want to know more information, please check out my Facebook or my various articles or blogs written on Times of Israel.
All right, what's the best way for people to get you? Actually, just your name on Facebook?
Exactly.
Okay. I'll put his name up one more time, Jeremy Deary, and go to Facebook, say hello. Great guy. We're going to be doing a lot of work with him. Take care. Stay safe out there, Jeremy.
You too.
All right.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah. Michael Gano, we love you.
Yeah.
But when he didn't come in his time slot, I went to a different interview with Jeremy. And I wanted to, and it worked out good first
Here's
time.
Jeremy's Facebook page real quick if you want to put that up.
Yeah, let's put that up.
Let me get it there a second. There you go. I Stand With Israel is his Facebook page, and it's Jeremy, Jeremydery.
Yeah, very, very knowledgeable guy, worked with Likud, I think he was born in the U.S., he speaks perfect English, moved to France, studied there, speaks French, obviously speaks Hebrew, so he'll be very, very helpful to Damon in Israel, putting our bureau together out there with Jerusalem Jane and Gano and a few others, and Gozi. Man, this is going to be pretty cool. But right now, we're going to bring you from our weak horse files. We have files over here of all the weak horses in the world. And the weakest of the weakest of the weakest horse is President Obama. And from the Arab mindset, weak horses are to be destroyed, strong horses prevail. And we're going to take a glimpse now into the family life of President Obama through the eyes of Malik Obama, as interviewed by our buddy Joel Gilbert, who put Dreams from My Real Father, that documentary, saying that Barack Obama is really not the father of Barack Obama, but most likely Frank Marshall Davis is. Check out this fascinating piece.
Hey, Joel.
Hey, Malik, nice to see you finally. How are you, sir?
I'm okay.
You know, I have your book about your father.
Oh, that's great.
So tell me, where are you right now?
I'm in a city called Kisumu. It's about 40 miles from where I live.
So we want to have kind of a candid talk from the heart about a number of subjects related to your half-brother and your family.
Okay.
Barack based his political career on the Obama family in Kenya. He made a big deal.
Very big deal. Very big deal.
My father was a foreign student, born and raised in a small village in Kenya. He grew up herding goats. My father grew up herding goats in Kenya.
I'm sure you follow the American politics, and a lot of Americans feel they were deceived politically because he said, I'm going to cut the deficit. Obamacare is not a tax. I'm going to support Israel.
Well, the way that he's turned and become a different person with a family is the same way that I see him behaving politically. He says one thing and then he does another. He's not, an honest man, as far as I'm concerned, in who he is and what he says and how he treats people.
How has that made you feel as the oldest brother in the family?
Disappointed. Disappointed, used and also betrayed. In the beginning, I didn't think that he was a schemer. His real character, his real personality, the real him is coming out now.
Do your other family members feel the same?
Yeah, a lot of them do. We may be putting a good face forward. Deep down inside, everybody's really disappointed and upset and angry, I guess.
When did you first meet Barack?
The first time we met was back in 1985. That's when I first arrived in the United States. This is a place in Eastern Market in Washington, D.C.
Barack is 24 years old here.
We had a couple of days we shared together, and I was just really overwhelmed and happy.
When did he visit you in Kenya?
1988. I had convinced him. I'm the one who convinced him to come on down.
Did you go with him to your father's grave?
Yes.
Place? You did?
Yes. Yeah, all that actually happened.
What was the relationship like those years?
We were together and we were really tight at the time, and you could talk to him, and we just took everything for granted. I loved him unconditionally, and I thought he loved me and the family unconditionally. One time when he was still working as a community organizer, he took me around to where he was working in his office.
Was he the best man at your wedding?
Yes, he was. And he had also asked me to be his best man at his wedding the year before. He was married in 1992. We were very close.
My impression is the Obama family gave him the basis for his entire political career.
Yes, that unusual story contributed greatly to what he is right now.
Let's talk about the book, Dreams from My Father, where he talks about your father so much.
I may be able to show you the original, the copy that he sent me, that's a manuscript.
What was the original name of the book?
Where My Father Lies Buried. And then he changed it to Claims of Inheritance. And then I think that's when he finally changed it to what it is, Dreams of. And he felt like, as a representative of his dad, his elder brother, I should go through the book just to make sure that everything was okay. It was a tedious process, and so I just did the best I could.
Was everything accurate, or was there a lot of embellishment, do you think?
Well, some of it, like my grandfather being detained and all that. I'm very close to my grandmother, and I never heard that before. And some of the things weren't correct, especially what my sister had to say.
Did you go to the first presidential inauguration?
Yes, I did.
And was Aunt Zaituni there also?
Yeah, she made it there, just as she had made it to Washington during senatorial inauguration.
And how did you feel at the inauguration? Were you treated with honor?
No, I didn't feel like we were actually welcome and treated well. I didn't feel that, we were really, a part of his program.
It sounds very awkward.
Yeah. Not even then, even up till now, it's like that. And if I need to see him, then I have to really make an effort. And when I do go, then, I go in through the back door. Or at night. This last visit, when I went, my aunt was died in Boston, I really was crushed and broken.
Did you ask him for some funds to help bury Aunt Zaituni back in Kenya?
Yes, I did. I told him that she's our aunt, she's your father's sister. She loved you very much, and we need to do something for her because we need around $20,000. And he said that was too much, and that it seemed like she deserved, what she got. And I was saying in my mind, what kind of person is this? And I told him, you say you're your brother's keeper. I don't feel it, and I don't see you, or living up to what you say. She had really been good to him when he came. I felt really sad that he would just abandon her like that. I just left, She was stuck there for a month. People were trying to raise money, and we finally got her back.
I see. What are the general living conditions in Kenya for you and your extended family?
Extreme hardship, poverty, and in Africa, you know how it is, and people are really hard up. Infrastructure is poor. There's no electricity.
Has he helped you or the rest of the relatives over the years that he used in his book and his political career?
No.
Has Barack done anything for your village?
No.
Has he contributed to the foundation for your father?
No. Nothing.
So has Barack, do you think, treated you with respect as an older brother since he was elected president?
No. Doesn't want anything to do with me anymore.
And how did that make you feel?
Hurt, crushed, and just, it's hard to really imagine. I don't understand how somebody who claims to be a relative or a brother can behave the way that he's behaving, be so cold and ruthless, and just turn his back on the people he said were his family.
Frank Marshall Davis, fairly well-known poet named Frank Marshall Davis, who had moved to Hawaii. Frank Marshall Davis.
Malik, I sent you my movie a few months ago, Dreams from My Real Father. When did you first watch it?
When you sent it to me.
So do you think that Barack looks like Frank Marshall Davis? This is a man that he said raised him, more than your father.
There's a great resemblance. Yeah, I think Frank Marshall Davis and Barack, they look alike. Some kind of moles I see on his face, and Frank, he has those too. There's a resemblance.
And does he resemble your father?
Not really. I don't, they say about the years, no.
Wow.
Your movie definitely,
Malik
puts a lot
looks
of
just
questions
like
in
the
my
father.
mind.
Yeah.
Well, would you like
Barry
to
don't look like Malik.
see or
No.
do a DNA test one day to know for sure?
That would really prove,
Right.
whether
I'm
they're
sure he's
related
got
or
some
not.
DNA.
So he's not Kenyan.
I would be willing to do that. I don't know how I would deal with it if it really came out that there's a fraud or a con.
He's not
It
Kenyan,
might be
he's
the
Connie.
reason why he made such a big deal about you politically, but personally he doesn't feel the bond.
I'm agreeing. Yeah, I agree with that because it's hard to understand how somebody can make such an about turn and make a big play about where he comes from. And then once he gets what he gets, he wants nothing to do with that place anymore. Explanation. And if you can provide the explanation, it would be better for all of us. And so that we won't be hanging, hoping for nothing. Because that's what I really feel for my people, is because they keep hoping. Maybe they're hoping for nothing. Because he doesn't mention it anymore, that, where he comes from or who his relatives are. He doesn't say any of those things anymore. So it's really disappointing, Joel. But that's life. So we live with it and move on, and we wait for the truth to come out.
Do you expect when he comes to Kenya that he will come to see you?
No, I don't expect that. I don't. You see, he's coming to Kenya right now, I've not been informed. I don't know what the program is about. It's a betrayal, big humiliation and embarrassment and demeaning.
What would you like to see happen next in your relationship with Barack?
I'd like to see him be for real, not be so deceptive. He should live up to his word and be the leader that we expected him to be. If he truly is, my father's son, then he needs to behave in a way that if my father was alive, I would be proud of him, because although my dad, went through what he went through, he would never, abandon his family.
Wow.
I appreciate your being very candid. If you come to America, I would love to see you in California. I think you are the more genuine brother, if he is your brother. Maybe we can switch Obamas, and the White House will be better off. That's what I think.
Yeah, we really have a Muslim in the White House.
Thanks, Joel. It was good talking to you, and I want to follow up on this and what your investigations really bring up and this line of thinking. All the best.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Rahmin.
Whoa, man.
Wow.
He's dead.
I tell you what, there's all kinds of Obama's DNA lying around some house up there in Kenya, or just getting it, and then that's a real proof of, who Obama is.
Yeah.
We got to go dig up some Frank Marshall Davis DNA.
Well, he's got his brother there. His brother is Frank Marshall Davis DNA, and I mean they can do the test just with Malik there.
No, Malik's from the Obama father, not from Frank Marshall Davis.
Yeah, you're talking about Frank Marshall. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, they could establish whether or not through Malik's blood and Barack's blood, obviously, whether or not they're related. And this is a fascinating piece. Joel did a very, very good job with that. I want to spend the remaining time on this. A couple of key points geopolitically. But what was your sense of Malik? We hear a lot of criticism about him. Yeah. I think Waleed Shoebat has done a lot, that he's involved with the Brotherhood and all that. What was your sense of how that interview went with Malik?
My opinion on it was that he was absolutely close to Obama. He's best man at his wedding, and reverse, Obama was the best man at his wedding. They're extremely close. And then all of a sudden, when Barack decided to run for president, he says, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. And
he gave him the Jeremiah Wright treatment.
Yep, he threw him under the bus, and he even had him edit his book for him, Dreams from My Father.
I thought that was fascinating. Yeah.
That's the proof right there that they were extremely close. You don't send your manuscript to someone that is not extremely close to you, or you extremely trust, to edit your book that you're going to put out nationally to run for president, and then just to blow him off like he has and not send him a dime over there in his village, which village is absolutely the great the great redistributor of wealth, doesn't give any money to his village where he grew up, his brothers, his family. He gives them nothing.
Well, he doesn't have Hillary Clinton money yet. You have to get out of office till you get all that money.
20,000.
I think part of this can be explained that Obama is black and white, right? He's playing the black card with his brother and all that. And I think when he was 24 years old, he was somewhat in awe of his Muslim brother, all of that stuff.
It was cool.
Then as he progresses through Chicago politics, he leads being black, but he lives as if he's a white person. He's in these socialite parties. He's hanging around. He meets Valerie Jarrett later on. You know, he's with the elite. He's with those people. So his brother's a black Muslim from Kenya. Who the heck wants to hang with him from Obama's point of view? So he brings them over for the inauguration, blows them all off, you know, and then distances himself from the guy. And we've seen this before with Jimmy Carter. Remember his brother Billy Carter, who was a whack job?
The drunk.
He was just a drunk. But Obama
like Obama's father, if you'll remember.
Yeah, Obama's father was no saint. Malik was talking a little more nicely
exactly.
about him than he was.
That's one thing that has to be remembered is Father Obama was a real piece of garbage.
Yeah, and there's a lot to that whole story. He got killed in a car crash. He had lost a leg already drunk driving. Then he got killed in a car crash, and he did abandon his family at different times. So, but yeah, I think the takeaway from Obama's point of view in terms of his personality. Well, what do you think? What do you guys think? Characteristics of Obama that maybe we know that ought to be identified.
Well, he has no loyalty whatsoever. Okay, he's loyal to whichever way the wind is blowing to help him politically. Is one thing. The guy seems to be very desensitized and does not possess the ability to feel empathy for others.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's just a cold-blooded machine. And he just, he does what he wants, regardless of the consequences, and he doesn't really care how what mess it leaves behind.
He is a total operator, a total Alinsky operator, looking to better himself or better whatever his viewpoint is, the morality of which is irrelevant. I got to do this, Mark. What is your thought? And then I'll sum it up. I got to send this out right now. Real time live.
Well, the big takeaway is that everything in that book is, Damon, please. Okay, is takeaway in that book is, I can't have it. The big takeaway in that book is that the dreams for my father is absolutely true. The dreams from my real father is absolutely true, and that Joel Gilbert has nailed it. He's absolutely nailed it. He's nailed it on a couple of fronts. He's nailed it on the book, and now with Malik, who verifies it and says he's read that book and says, "Yeah, you're spot on, Joel. Read this book. Dreams from My Real Father, America." I mean, that if you want to know who Obama is, read that book. It really is.
You can take pictures and juxtapose them and put them next to each other, and kind of get the intent you want. But I mean, he looks like Frank Marshall Davis. I mean, with the moles, the whole thing. The Obama face, the father Obama, Barack Obama #1, he's got a totally different structure. He's got a very roundish face, just like Malik did, very roundish face. Frank Marshall Davis is more lean, as is Obama's more lean. And it's fascinating to do the research to see what actually happened, how the wife got pregnant from Frank Marshall Davis, hanging with him, and the father-in-law, the grandfather, negotiated a deal with Barack Obama to make believe he was the father in exchange for some goodies that were handed to him.
Realize the Communist Party ties of Obama's mother and his grandparents on the mother's side, and Frank Marshall Davis. They're freaking commie operators.
Yep.
Total card-carrying communists. So
I mean, Frank Marshall Davis was a card-carrying Communist Party USA.
He used to do a weekly. I read a lot of his material. He did a weekly Chicago publication. But another element, as we close this show now at 59 minutes after, we got 1 minute.
Real quick is, maybe Obama, halfway through this thing, realized who his real father was, and that's the reason he's disassociated Malik from his family.
No. I think he knew before that. There's indication he knew before 2008.
He wrote a poem called Pops, and it was very descriptive of Frank Marshall Davis.
We will, if this thing gets legs, I know WorldNet Daily did a big story on it. If anybody picks this up, and maybe we will next week even more so, we'll get Joel on the show. We'll dive into this a little more. But one of the incriminating facts is that President Obama was 20 years in Jeremiah Wright's church as a Christian. This guy ain't a Christian any way you look at it, not only from his lifestyle, his behavior, his belief system, treating his family like this. He has nothing to do with Christianity. And you can say a few little Christian words every now and then. It means nothing. President Obama is a gigantic fraud and a tiny weak horse. So, see you Monday. Have a safe weekend. Everybody take it easy. Okay.